And we're back. Let's go over to the church and Druckers. The Druckers are the family. These guys. And I have no recollection of what I was supposed to do with these dudes. Okay, so he is a printing press man or something. Morning class, another day at the Abbey. Another few hours to work on my masterpiece. Good to hear. You still coming by for supper tonight? Marie and Bert would love to see you. Who is Marie? Wife. You really need to see these new woodcuts I have for an Italian edition of Till Eulenspiegel. Christmas, the titular character of a popular 15th century book. Till is a prankster continually exposing the vices and hypocrisy of others. He is also quite skilled at tricking people into smelling, touching, or eating his excrement. I remember this guy from something, I can't remember, but we also, when we were kids, we had this really, like, not a large collection, but like at least three books with old stories, and these books were, I guess, old as well, and this was back in the 80s, and then the stories were pretty strange and gruesome. Like, I remember one story of three sisters who went into this mansion, and they were forbidden to go into they were forbidden to go into one room. They were allowed to go into every room out of like hundreds of rooms or thousands of rooms, or like 1,000 rooms, but one room they should not go into. And then the first sister went in there, then the second sister went in there, and then the last sister went in there, and then there was like, I can't remember if there was like a bathtub with like severed limbs and heads and stuff in that room, and I guess the moral of the story is just don't, when someone tells you not to go somewhere, you don't want to go there. Like, it didn't have any sort of ingenious backstory to it, or anything like that. It was just to teach children not to wander around someone else's house, I think. But these books and stories were amazing. I didn't realize Father Thomas let you print books in Italian. Come on, Andreas, he's not that strict. I know he's just trying to protect people from... Alright, Heresy, Witch Mania, Adventure Stories of Questionable Moral Repute, your sloppy typesetting. So banning Italian books, I think there were quite a lot of books being banned in Italy as well. But I'm not really, like, if it works sort of in reverse. I'll just do a joke. Well, not all of us have the luxury of taking days to write a single page for a book, Journeyman Mauler. Only Journeyman for a few more months, then Master. Great, then you can take a week for a single page and they'll probably pay you double for it. See, now you're thinking like a master artist. Too bad you're a printer. I mean, this is sounding serious because they're just looking at each other. So, supper tonight after Vespers? Of course. Great. I'll tell Marie and Bert you're coming. See you then. See you laters. Alligators. So we cannot go in his house because we should already, I guess, be at the Abbot, but it's right here. God bless Master Mauler. I hope your week is going well. Thank you, Father. It's going quite well. I'm just on my way up the hill to get to work. Good. Andreas, I don't recall seeing you at Sunday morning Mass. You understand how important it is for your salvation that you receive Holy Communion, don't you? I do, but I've been working on sketches late at night. Let's see what he thinks. I just stayed up too late on Saturday. I don't want to get into an argument with him about this. Would going to church on Sunday be such a burden If it's not for his sake, consider it for your own. I like this sort of inner dialogue. A man has many, many duties. Father Thomas should appreciate how hard you work to help the Abbey. This asshole can't make you go to Mass. To hell with him. A man has many duties. Father Thomas should appreciate how hard you work to help the Abbey. And it's like a day off. So I'm just going to go with this. Almost everyone in town works hard, though. I do, but I've been working on sketches late at night. Can I see the... Whoops. You don't have to make a promise to me, but our salvation is contingent on the... Yeah, I've accidentally clicked that one. So I was trying to click the previous one, but it didn't work. But it was not that serious. And now we learned that we shouldn't do that. Oh my, what a blessed day to receive such an illustrious visitors. Master Mahler, this is Lorraine. Lawrence, or Lorraine. Baron of Rothvogel, a great lord from the countryside near Worms. I actually don't know where Worms is. Prosperous imperial free city in the western part of the empire, located on the Rhine River. Worms has been the site of many imperial diets. Yes, it has. And that is like where they... Well, a lot of things I guess they do there, but where they decide what is canon and what is not. The Council of Worms. Good to see you, Father Thomas. It is nice to be remembered fondly. I only wish all of your neighbors were as welcoming. That's right. An unfortunate name, Worms. Well, yes. What brings you back to our little town? My wife and I were returning from a trip to Venice, spent a few days in Innsbruck, and it was terribly dull. So I think we all know what Venice is. One of the most powerful republics on the Italian peninsula. Sitting on the northwest coast of the Adriatic Sea, Venice is a major center for commerce and art in southern Europe. And Innsbruck, oh shit, right there. Innsbruck, capital of the Austrian county of Tyrol, and major stop on the imperial road connecting Italy to Bavaria. It is the closest major city to Kursaal Abbey and Tassing. Notably, it was also the site of witch trials in 1485. I mean, it has a certain charm common to these alpine cities, but the place was crawling with nobles for the emperor's diet. An imperial diet is an assembly of the 3 colleges of the imperial estates of the Holy Roman Empire. The prince-electors, the princes and dukes, and the representatives of the imperial cities. They meet to deliberate on matters of importance to the empire. So, the Holy Roman Empire, I guess, if anyone doesn't know, it was like a precursor to sort of Germany, but it was really fractured, and it was rather, not really strange in that sense, but it just, it was like a really fractured empire into small bits, but it didn't really function as one, except with like Europe in a sense, where everyone has their independence and do their things and speak their own languages and things like that, but then, you know, you share maybe the same money and plan together on like large projects like, you know, roads and things like that. The Emperor, was he there? Did you see him? Oh, briefly, but he was sitting for a portrait at the time. Quite lovely. I didn't want to bother him or the painter. And I don't recall who is the Emperor. 14... I forgot the exact year too, I can't remember. Who was the artist, my lord? Maybe I shouldn't talk to him, I'm just a filthy peasant. I'm sure you know him, an older man from Nuremberg with enough of a reputation to paint the Emperor. I'm sorry, my lord, I'm not sure who you mean. Have you not heard of Albrecht Dürer? Pity. I thought he was known across the Empire, and this is one of the reasons why maybe you should talk to nobles, because they know a lot more than you do. Dürer, Albrecht Dürer, is a renowned painter and printmaker from Nuremberg. He is revered in Venice as well as across the Holy Roman Empire. Since 1512, he has enjoyed the patronage of Emperor Maximilian I. So it is Maximilian I, and he means nothing to me. Anyway, my wife wanted to stay a bit longer in Innsbruck, and I decided to ride ahead to make a visit to Curacao. I heard Father Matthias died shortly after my last visit, of course. Father Matthias, abbot of Curacao before Father Gernot, widely respected by the monks and nuns as well as the people of Tassing, known for his kindness and love of books. That is good to know. A great loss for the Abbey and for all of us. Yeah, it's good to know. Would have been good to know before he died. Indeed, by good fortune, I recently came across a copy of the Historia Tassiae. He was reading during my last visit. Let's see what that is. Tassiae. An account of the early history of Tassing. Curaçao's previous abbot, Father Matthias, had a copy. Baron Rothvogel brought another to the abbey as a gift. Interesting. Father Matthias was hoping to find a second copy to corroborate the contents of the first. It contains some fascinating details about the history of this place. I'm afraid they might even cause a bit of a scandal. But I must be off. There will be time enough to discuss Tassing's past later. I commissioned a manuscript from the Abbey through Father Gernot, and I have come back to check on his progress. So, we should probably have been at the Abbey already, but I think we can use him as an excuse. Oh, my lord, if you have come to see your manuscript, you should speak with young Master Mahler here, Mahler. Not quite a true master yet. I still have to marry and be approved by the city council. It is an honor to meet you, my lord. He doesn't need to know my life details. Andres is a journeyman artist from Nuremberg. For the next few months, he's also helping in the Abbey's scriptorium, which is the writing room. A room for writing, illustrating and illuminating manuscripts. Though typically associated with monasteries, they have disappeared from almost all abbeys in the 16th century because of the printing press, I would imagine, which is a shame in a sense, because I'm sure there are still places that do it, but it would be nice to have pretty much every abbey have like a script writer, because that would keep the thing alive with all these weird images. A Nuremberger artist working in an abbey scriptorium in 1518. Oh, we should talk to Andreas. I must know the story. Of course, my lord, it would be an honor. Well, I'm already late to the abbey, but I suppose it's all right. Surely my lord would find little entertainment or companionship in me. Yeah, so let's be humble. I have yet to judge the quality of your entertainment, though it sounds like we're off to a bad start. Thank you for the introduction, Father Thomas. Come to supper at the Abbey tonight. I'm inviting you to the Abbot's table. Did the Abbot invite me? Oh, don't worry about it, Father. Just show up after Vespers. What is he going to do? Refuse us? Excellent. We'll see you then. Nicholas, I'm dismounting. Run ahead of us and take the horses to the Abbey's guest house. I'd like to take my time talking with Master Mahler. I'll meet you there. At once, my lord. So then, a journeyman from Nuremberg. Forgive me for saying so, but you seem a little old to not yet be a master. Are you unmarried? No, I'm not married, but in truth I came to my vocation later than my father and brothers. I was in university for a number of years at Erfurt. Where is Erfurt? It's one of the most populous cities in the empire and is located near its heart. It has been home to a respected university since 1379. And is a center for humanist thought. Cool. Erfurt. Wonderful. The same university as Martin Luther. Have you read his works? Tremendous mind. Priest and professor of theology at the University of Wittenberg. Controversial for his opinions on the church's sale of indulgences to forgive sin, which were recently published and distributed throughout the empire. Wittenberg. Yeah, I never remember these towns and places, but everybody, I guess, knows who Martin Luther is. He says things about the church that should have been said years ago. Might get him into trouble, but he's a brave, brilliant man. Wait, you may have even met him. Did you? You must tell me. Oh no, he was a few years ahead of me. Still, his ideas do seem fascinating. His ideas don't hold much interest for me, I'm afraid. They do seem fascinating. And even if I agree wholeheartedly, I simply must meet him if I get the chance. Yeah, so you best please the nobles. I wonder if the good brothers of the Abbey have heard of him. Perhaps they have even read his list of 95 theses against the church. 95 Theses. A list of propositions against the church's practice of selling indulgences for the remission of sin. It was written in 1517 by Martin Luther. So yeah, I should actually read them. Father Matthias was not above having a lively debate. I hope Father Gernot does not disappoint in that regard. But enough about Luther for now. Tell me about your university studies. Forgive me, Baron, but did you attend university? You seem very well educated. No. My family is merely wealthy enough to have provided me with all of the books and tutors a child could dream of. I love all knowledge, from Aristotle and Cicero to Ficino and Erasmus, and everyone in between and yet to come. So Aristotle, Greek philosopher and student of Plato, renowned as a polymath, he wrote on a wide variety of subjects. His work is extensively cited by current scholars, and even more work is attributed to him than he could ever have written. Erasmus of Rotterdam, a Dutch priest and philosopher who is preeminent among northern humanists. He is known for his works in Latin and Greek, as well as his calls for reform within the church. Ficino. Marsilio Ficino was a 15th century Italian priest and humanist who was one of the leading figures of the Italian Renaissance. He is well known for his translations of the works of Plato into Latin. And Cicero, statesman, scholar, lawyer, and renowned orator of the late Roman Republic. He is revered both for his contributions to Latin literature and his skill at rhetoric. Now I need to read more out loud. So I never heard of him. I may have misjudged the Baron. It seems he's as well read as any university student. In truth, I am simply happy to speak with another well-educated man. Now then, did you earn your doctorate? Okay, so, no I didn't, only a master's degree. I started working towards a doctorate but didn't finish. So I think what that meant was that the text that people, because we can't hear a voice, so it is like the text is like their voice in a sense, and it describes them in some way. So now he's sort of described as a different type of person because our opinion of him changed a little bit, or our knowledge of him changed. Well, that's a shame. What was your area of study? Andreas has a strong understanding of Catholic theology, biblical knowledge, canon law, heresies, and similar subjects. Andreas knows the basics of the fractured systems of law that govern the various states of the Holy Roman Empire. Andreas is familiar with the basics of human biology, medicine, and illness. So, I'll take this one just because the art needs to be sort of Christian in a sense, and then I would see that as being the most useful one. And also, I think, personally, this is what I know most about outside of everything else. Theology, as odd as that may seem. Not odd at all. It's a good field to study if you want a position in the church. My late uncle was the abbot of Fulda. I spent many hours reading the manuscripts in their library with his permission. Town built around an old Benedictine abbey near the center of the empire. Fulda's abbots are imperial princes and wield great power. He was a pious enough man, I suppose, but he wielded great power from that abbey. You, if I had any faith, I would have prayed you'd never show your face here again. Oh, Attilia. Curse you, Lorenz Rothwogel. Perched his dogs tearing you to pieces would be too kind a fate. These rustic communities display a shocking lack of hospitality, don't you think? They do. Everywhere in the world. Almost. Who knows? By the time I finish guessing, the old crone will probably be dead. I'm pretty sure he knows. Well, whatever early time in university, every student must study the trivium and the quadrivium. Trivium and quadrivium. The trivium and quadrivium represent the lower and upper divisions of a classic liberal arts university education. Latin grammar, logic, and rhetoric form the trivium. Arithmetic, geometry, music, and astronomy form the quadrivium. Astronomy. Do you have a favorite subject? Latinist Andreas has a strong command of Latin grammar and vocabulary. He can also easily recall sentences, sentiae, antiquiae, quoted words of wisdom from the Roman Republic and Empire. Logician. Andreas instinctively thinks through the implications of information as he receives it, is adept at spatial analysis, and can easily perform complicated calculations in his head. Andreas excelled in rhetoric at university. He's a skilled teacher, persuader, and public speaker. Andreas knows a soul-endangering amount of theoretical and practical knowledge on alchemy, astrology, theurgy, necromancy, and various magical rites and ceremonies. Heavens and earth. Andreas knows a great deal about the constellations, heavenly bodies, and their movement. He is also familiar with various plants and animals from study and personal experience. So I guess this is the most adept, personally, out of these things. I've been called a lot of things, but not a Latinist or an occultist. I also don't really like public speaking and things like that, even though it's something that I've had to do. So I'll just go with this one. Logic, geometry, and arithmetic. Quite interesting for an artist. Was Aristotle's organon the foundation of your study? Yes, the organon for logic and Euclid's elements for geometry, but the past few centuries have yielded wonderful new texts on logic. Euclid, I think, lived in Alexandria. Right. Mathematician of ancient Alexandria. He's recognized as the father of geometry and is most well known for his Book of Elements, the foundation of all university education on geometry. So I sort of remember that he wrote the book elsewhere. I'm not sure. It's been a while. Peter Abelard provided the foundation of scholastic philosophy and established the primacy of Aristotle's work. Abelard. 12th century French teacher, philosopher, and theologian. He is known for his philosophical work in logic and his theological work in atonement theory. He is also remembered for his love affair with his student, the renowned Benedictine nun, abbess, and scholar Eloise d'Argenteuil. Eloise the Silver or something, I think. The Englishman William of Ockham gave us the Summa Logicae, arguing nominalism against Platonic realism. William of Ockham, 13th and 14th century English Franciscan philosopher and theologian, known for his commentaries on Peter Abelard's 4 books of sentences, his defense of apostolic poverty, and his writings on faith and reason. And of course, Thomas Aquinas gave us the tools to employ both faith and reason in the pursuit of truth. Thomas Aquinas, an immensely influential philosopher, theologian, and jurist in the tradition of scholasticism. And I think I read his Meditations years ago. That's a weird thing. I read them somewhere that I don't remember where I was, or where it was. I just remember reading them sleeping on the floor. Where on earth was I? No idea. Strange. All monks and friars, of course, a great deal of work to force Aristotle to fit within the church's vision of truth. Is that so wrong? And for a second I thought, I was like, that's a weird bug on my screen. I question that these great men should have had to wrestle logic into what the church established by fiat and force. And your other studies, was there anything else you excelled at? I guess it has to be this one then. The art of persuasion, naturally. Rhetoric. I assume you studied the Greeks and Romans both. Yes, Aristotle and Cicero, of course, but also Christian thinkers like Augustine and Thomas Aquinas. True, we have less use for public discourse than the senators did in the Roman Republic. Exactly. The doctors of the church weren't trying to persuade politicians, but to move the mind toward Christian truth. Still, the principles remain the same. Invent your arguments, then arrange, style, and internalize them before delivering them to your audience. Splendid, though I suppose an artist has little use for rhetoric, especially in a place such as this. I'm more of an improvised rhetorician, so I'm sort of the reverse of what he's saying. Not true. Rhetoric is also an art, and like other forms of art, it should be created for the audience and its purpose. Yes. I guess, yes, in a way. Yes, it can be practiced as easily in the streets of the rural town as in the Curia of Rome. Well put. There is the Abbey. I have good memories of this place. and a Father Matthias. I was sad to hear of his passing. How did you come to know him? How did you come to know of Cursaw at all? My family have been patrons of Cursaw for I don't know how many generations. Some years ago, I heard that Cursaw still had a wonderful library in artisans. Professional artists have taken over most manuscript production, so I was shocked to find an active scriptorium here. Well, there's not much left of it these days. 2 old men, a young scribe, and me. This is as good a place as any to create art. The artists that remain here are quite talented, if a bit old-fashioned. I'll just go the neutral way. Certainly, though I'm sure you miss the comforts of Nuremberg when you're stuck in a drafty old abbey like this. I'll get back there soon enough. I'm in no rush. I do, but the abbot is paying good money. Good enough to put up with a bit of discomfort. I'm in no rush. That's good for me, since I still appreciate the abbey's work. I commissioned a manuscript through Father Gernot a year ago. I thought I would stop by and check on the progress. Wait, are you the artist working on it? It's a prayer book with 20 illustrations. I know the work, but no. I do know the artist well, the venerable brother Piero. How venerable? He still has his wits and his skills, if that's what concerns you. Brother Piero has an incredible talent with color. Then I very much look forward to seeing it. Niklaus, tend to the horses and the baggage. I'm heading up to the abbey. Yes, my lord. Well, let's not keep the abbot waiting any longer. Nuns. Quite unusual for a Benedictine house to have monks and nuns, even if they are separated. Whoops, I think I missed something. The church closed most of them centuries ago. But then Cursaw is a place out of time in more ways than one. Do you know Mother Cecilia? She seemed to recognize you. Why were they closed? This is personal stuff. Monks and nuns living side by side cannot behave themselves. I don't blame them, though. The church shouldn't either. It's just human nature, after all. True. You must be Father Gernot. I'm Lawrence, Baron of... Yes, the Baron of Rothvogel. So wonderful to have you here again. We actually did meet on your last visit. If you say so. I'm not good with remembering faces. We should team up, and I can remember the faces, and he can remember the names. Please forgive me, my lord, but I wasn't expecting you for another few days. Yes, I know, but I wrote ahead. I just couldn't wait to see my manuscript. I'm sure it's no trouble. I mean, no, it's no trouble. Did you want to see it now? Have you conned this man out of his money, Gernot? Oh, in a moment. I could do with a bit of refreshment, though. May I grab something from the kitchen? Yes, yes. Certainly, my lord. I will meet you there. Andres, I don't know what you were doing with the Baron, but I need you in the scriptorium now. Of course, Father. I'm eager to get to work. Why are you taking this out on me? He's not my problem. Is that a bad time to ask for an advance on my payment for the Book of Hours? Is this a bad time? I don't want to ask for a forward pay, though I probably need it for. A type of illuminated manuscript that contains an abbreviated form of the prayers for the Divine Office, in addition to other religious texts. Most are relatively plain, but wealthy patrons often commission lavish examples with elaborate illustrations. I mean, this is a very bad time to ask for an advance payment. Then get to work. Alright. Shit. I mean, I thought I could be able to ask it again. Maybe I could just convince Brother Matthew to pay me early. Yeah, rather him. Alright, so we finally reached the Abbey. We're going to get in there in the next episode. So we're sort of setting up a solid base of what is going to be happening, I guess. And I will see you in the next episode.